For most of human history, the sparrow was everywhere. They nested on our rooftops, gathered in our courtyards, and embedded themselves into our folklore and daily routines. This abundance made them a constant in the human landscape. They became the reliable soundtrack of civilization, so common and so integrated into the rhythm of everyday life that we eventually stopped noticing them at all. But over the last few decades, that soundtrack has faded. Without headlines or sudden alarms, sparrows have been quietly vanishing from cities across the globe. This disappearance is a biological puzzle. The sparrow is a specialist in resilience, a bird that has successfully navigated almost every major environmental shift humanity has triggered over the last several thousand years. If a species this adaptable is now struggling to survive in our streets, it acts as a warning. Their absence suggests a growing friction between our modern urban designs and the basic requirements of the life forms that once thrived alongside us. To understand why they are leaving, we have to look at how they arrived. Roughly 11 million years ago, in ancient grassland ecosystems, the sparrow evolved for flexibility. They developed short, conical beaks for seeds and rapid breeding cycles that allowed their populations to recover quickly from environmental stress. Look at this metal grain silo next to a traditional wooden barn. Around 10,000 years ago, as humans began storing grain and producing reliable organic waste, sparrows followed the food supply directly into our settlements. This wasn't domestication, but cohabitation. Sparrows never required human care. They simply lost their fear of us to feed on spilled grains and leftovers, becoming independent residents of the human world. In return, they provided a vital service. Millennia before we invented chemical pesticides, sparrows acted as a biological control system, consuming massive quantities of insects that would have otherwise devastated human crops. They became a functional component of human settlements, silently stabilizing the local environment by managing pests and recycling the waste we left behind. Their success inside human settlements comes down to hardware, specifically their brains. The sparrow's brain is optimized for pattern recognition and social learning, allowing them to adapt their behavior across generations. Their survival relies on community cognition. Rather than individual strength, sparrows use collective intelligence. If one bird spots a predator, the information pulses through the flock instantly. This flocking behavior provides physical security. Moving as a single unit reduces individual risk and allows them to huddle close for thermal regulation when temperatures drop. This highly efficient social technology, the cooperative flock, is exactly what allowed them to thrive within the dense and chaotic environments of early human cities. But the sparrow hasn't lost its evolutionary edge. Instead, our architecture changed. Look at this concrete facade. Modern construction has moved toward sheer, brutalist surfaces, eliminating the gaps and crevices where sparrows have nested for thousands of years. We also began building with pure, reflective glass. These surfaces offer no grip, no shelter from weather, and mirror the sky in a way that actively confuses avian navigation. Simultaneously, we dismantled their food chain. As you see here with this crop duster, the intensive use of pesticides has eliminated the insects sparrows need to feed their young. Meanwhile, processed waste has replaced the whole grains they once scavenged. By systematically removing the specific requirements for food, shelter, and safety, we have designed urban environments that are functionally incompatible with the sparrow's biological needs. That absence triggers a chain reaction. Fewer sparrows lead to a rise in insect populations. To compensate, we increase the use of chemical pesticides, which further poisons the soil and air, making the ecosystem even less resilient. There is also a psychological impact on the human population. Environmental psychologists note that the loss of familiar species like the sparrow often correlates with increased urban stress and a decreased connection to the natural world. Because of this, ecologists view the sparrow as a keystone indicator species. They are a living sensor, measuring the health and balance of the environments we share. They do not need active human rescue. They only need urban planning. That includes green spaces, nesting-friendly architecture, and a reduction in chemical dependency. A city capable of supporting the sparrow is a city balanced enough to support human life. Their presence is a measure of our own sustainability. If we can create space for them to return, we prove that we can coexist with the planet we inhabit.